Hello, everyone. My name is David, and as you can see, to the others who've been following me, Kevin is gone. He had to go. He was just staring too much at me, and I've done away with certain advanced microphones and stuff like that because just too noisy. And I review what I've done, and it just makes too much of a cluster of noise. So I've done away with it. Even though right now you're probably picking up the background of my air conditioner going off. And there's a little blur from the light coming in from my light back there. But all aside, I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing? I watch the news, even though the news is more about drama than it is anything else. They never tell you the full story. They only tell you enough to get you coming back. It's like that old television sitcoms, they leave you hanging a cliffhanger to bring you back to the one no more. And then other things they talk about over and over and over just doesn't make any sense. So, the news is not full news. That's the reason why I post this news. Yes, you could say this is editorial, my opinions and stuff like that. And like my opinions and people rear ends, there's a bunch of gas that comes out of every. What's going on now? We see what's going on over there in Russia and the war. We see what's going on over in Jerusalem in Israel. Uh, Climate change and all this other stuff. And we see people that are what I call heretics out there looking to find answers from the past and from the wisdoms of people that predicted what's going on. Nostradamus and Jeannie Dixon and other people of that sort, soothsayers of all kinds. So that's the reason why I put this with my a new way of new worship because the people doing wrong. Time is irrelevant. I know that we live on this earth for a set point A to point B, no matter what. There is no such thing as there is no such thing as an infinity loop. It doesn't happen. And the reason why I post this with Rainbow Wisdom too is because I've come to a certain standpoint in my evaluations of physics. Physics is going the wrong way. To begin with, they started thinking about light and the wavelengths and the power of light. Next, they started thinking about gravity and the power of gravity. And next, they started thinking about theories about string and all these multiple things that can be opened by folding the fabric of space. Well, people, as much as you want to think about all that, there to me is something that's even greater and stronger than gravity. There was a saying that came up when than the sword. And dropping propaganda leaflets and like that over Germany and things during World War I and World War II, over 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 is saying that my connection is unstable right now. That's because I get so many people trying to come in. But over in uh, these different places like Korea, Vietnam, and all like that, propaganda did more damage than anything else. Even though we dropped so many bombs and did so many things, it was the propaganda that actually brought everything to an end. It's also what started all the wars and everything. But to me, the mightiest and the strongest thing there is in the universe is sound. Like when they say the Big Bang, to us, a bang is what happens when there is a big explosion. Did it make a sound? And you say, well, in space, sound travels through air and all. Well, there's air in space. Might not be enough for us to breathe, that there's a vacuum being sucked in. But there is ways for sound to travel. If not, why are we using all these radio telescopes to send wavelengths out there trying to pick up other wavelengths into us? It's a sound that's coming through. They can travel for millions of miles, I mean, billions of years, miles and things, even further than any light can. Even when the light is fading and going out, the sound stays. The sound is there. It is sound that creates the gravity, I believe. To me, that's my thought. Sound makes the gravity. So, what is the strongest thing in the world? It is sound. Tesla proved this when he created a sound wave that it was so dense that it started to rock the foundations in Mount Manhattan. Even though it was short lived, it was enough to prove the strength of sound. Sound itself could take and crack any crust on the Earth's planet, just break it in two. I mean, it is sound. We have seen the shadows of glass high enough. But what's higher than that? You say, well, only animals can hear that sound. What about if the sound gets so high and so fervent that even the animals can't hear it or feel it? What happens then? As there's light waves and gravity waves, gravitons, and stuff like that through there is also sound. Even though we may not recognize it as so, it is sound. Just because we can't pick it up with our microphones and things, sensitive stuff out there doesn't mean there is not sound. For us to conclude the sound has no power in space in the vacuum of the universe is wrong. Sound is the strong. Sound is what creates the gravity. Sound is what created the light. It was sound that started the stars to vibrate and creating the heat that exploded into the Big Bang. It was sound. It is by the trumpets of the marching armies around Jericho that made the walls come tumbling. It was the sound. The same sound every day about the same time created a, a cadence of a rhythm as the walls vibrated. They keep vibrating for 24 hours, and they did it again. The walls vibrated for another 24 hours. As they did again, so much vibration, and those walls come tumbling down because of the sound. It wasn't the light, it wasn't anything else. It was sound. Didn't have to throw one spear, one rock, didn't have to pound the doors or anything, just walked around with the sound. And when the walls of Jericho come tumbling down, people still didn't understand. They thought it was the hand of God. It may have been what they called the hand of God, but it was a vibration from the sound that created it. Elephants in the Serengeti, miles away from a volcano or earthquake, can feel the vibration that happens before it ever gets to the earth. Whales can feel the vibration of the sound before there is anything that vibrates or erupts. I mean, any type of eruption of volcanoes in the water. All sound has a vibration, and that vibration goes from the lowest sound that there is to the highest that our ears, the animal's ears, or anything else can feel, but it is there. The sound is constant, everlasting. As much as we have gravitons flowing through the earth at a regular rate, and we can take and use that as ways of carbon dating how old things are. Sound is what moves those gravitons. If not, gravitons would not move. Gravitons, based upon the structure of gravity and string theory, movement. But what moves the gravity is the sound. Okay, let's get back into what I've been talking about. Let's get real, people. There are things about the Bible I believe, things about the Quran I believe, things about Buddha that I believe. But these are things that are deep down scientifically proven that it's true and factual. Now, some of the things people can't explain, but you don't need to explain some things. Some things you just know are true. They can't be that wild or weird without being true. Nostradamus, his predictions of things to come, will inside a will, the fall of Hitler, the fall of the Twin Towers, the wars, and all like this. I could take anybody's book from the past and bring it up and say, well, this is what it's meant to say. But to actually know the concept of what Nostradamus was talking about or what he meant when he said these things or that things or drew this or drew that, we do not know. Just like Galileo, when he started naming parts of the universe and stars and things like that, when ships started sailing the waters and they using the star as alignment and stuff like that. You know, there's certain things that are just fact, but we cannot take what somebody wrote about in back in these days in the 10th, 11th, and 12th century and use them for factual findings for today's ideas. I want any one of you to take in your heart just the basic things that you know about living today and tell it to anybody or try to figure out how to tell someone from a time of the 10th, 11th, 12th century. And I'm talking about BC, BCAE. It doesn't matter because you can't. People that are super geniuses during that time and they start putting things together during the time before Moses, before Christ and all, started seeing things and figuring it out. They didn't know how to tell the people back then, nor would they even come up with a concept of it. And if they did know, they may be listed as this type of person, that type of person, wants to be feared or wants to bow down to. You know, geniuses is a relative term too. There is no such thing as geniuses. There are those that just figure things out. Oh, poor guy that took and thought he was a genius and he was going to go out and do this and do that until there was a little rat come running across his toes and he jumped up, scared to death of that rat, and ran away. A big genius, but he was scared of a little rat. Geniuses, as we have seen, and some of them that are in basic science and medicine. Some geniuses are into music. Some geniuses are into um, the arts of music and drawings and different things. Geniuses of all kinds. Lots of people would call that autism. With some of these people that are so dedicated, Mozart and Beethoven, that was so focused that that's all they do. Sounds like Putin there. Putin's so narrow minded about getting back Russia the way it is. So he's created a war he can't win. And if he does win, if he does go in there and he wins this war, he's just going to turn my back over. He's going to turn all that land back over. Why? Because he ain't got the sense or the money or the manpower to maintain it. Any land that he goes into, he can't maintain it. He barely can maintain what he's got. That's the reason why he's created this war, trying to show how powerful he is. You want to bring back the KGB? No. Even lots of things that's going on in the world today, you cannot bring back. Things from the KGB, the mafia, the Hells Angels, all these things from Mexico and the kingpins and different people. Why? Because the people that were running it back then were controlling those that didn't care. All they wanted was just another meal and a good job or whatever. They didn't care about the rich. Oh, how the rich have fallen. Oh, how the rich have reached out for more power than what they should. Let's say power corrupts all, money corrupts all, riches. There are those back in time of the Roman Empire that were so rich till things started falling away and the poor man started going out all over different places. And the rich man didn't have the poor people to take care of him. So he sent out people trying to force them back. And those people that went out there, half of them didn't come back because they found out those poor guys could pay more than the rich people could. Oh, how the rich fell. And those poor people, they became the rich ones because they knew how to survive, knew how to take and do things, make things on themselves. They didn't rely on their money and their power. Can you see what's happening? And all the things that's happening, even in the United States, the presidency isn't that powerful. You think they are until you look into the CIA, the FBI, and the Secret Service, and you see all these other things that they're doing regardless what the president wants or Congress or any of them, you say, well, they answer to it. No, sometimes they act on their own accord. Come on, people, let's get real. Predictions, I could take any book from the past and make it sound like today's day when the world's going to end. And truth of the matter, only thing's going to end is this broadcast. Y'all have a good day. Hope to see you next time. Bye bye bye.